And now, another masterpiece from France. Oui, 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 oui. See, I'm going to show you today how to make lemon souffle. Why souffle? I'll tell you, because many people get totally scared by souffle. You tell them, you're going to make souffle tonight? You get the stare blank in the face. Like, it's the most difficult thing. Souffle, the only difficulty about souffle is that you cannot make it a day ahead. As a matter of fact, souffle is the only dessert that I know of that you must make and present at the same time. So this is a very difficult thing, even for me. But you know what? We're going to go through this one together. And if something goes wrong, we'll improvise together. So why don't we look at the ingredients, and I'll walk you step by step on how to make this wonderful recipe. Are you ready? Snap into action. This is what we need. For the lemon souffle, we need a half a cup or half and half milk, 3 tablespoons of flour, a quarter cup of fresh lemon juice, 2 teaspoons of grated lemon zest, a half a cup of sugar, 6 egg whites, room temperature, it's important, a pinch of salt, 4 egg yolks, a half a teaspoon of vanilla, and 1 tablespoon of powdered sugar. The oven, by the way, is preheated at 400 degrees. That's about 200 degrees Celsius. And let me get this out at the beginning because I'm going to get involved and I don't want to miss on the information. Once we make the mixture of the souffle, we're going to cook it at this temperature that I just mentioned, at 400 degrees, for 10 minutes. Then we reduce the temperature to 350, that's 180 Celsius degrees. And then we continue cooking it for 20 minutes. Now, how does the souffle work? The souffle mixture, once inside the bowl that we chose it, will rise up. However, if it sticks to the walls, what happens then? We have a problem. The problem is that the souffle will not rise. So the first and most important step, let's look at it together. Right here it is. Look inside this bowl. I've greased this bowl with butter, and then I coated it with sugar. So that once we put the mixture in there, the mixture will be able to rise because it will not be attached to the wall of the vessel. Vessel, I love that word. Something else. In my book, on my recipe, I tell you to use a 6-cup container. In this case, I've used an 8-cup container. Now, this is my personal choice, but I want to tell you the difference that you will see at home when you do it with a 6-cup container. When you do it with a 6-cup container, which is quite a bit smaller than this, the souffle rises and rises over the edge of the container, so you get a big poof on top of it. When you use instead the 8-cup, what happens is that it will rise, but it will not be spilling over. So this is the significant difference that you will see. Why do it one way versus the other? When I do it this way, it's easier for me to dip into it, don't see any problems going beside. And beside, if it flops down, it still stays within. It allows me to cheat more freely. There, I confess. So if something goes wrong, I can always say the magic word. I meant to do that. But let's move on with the other part of the recipe. And here we are. In this bowl, we add the half and half milk, the flour, and then you want to stir it until it makes a uniform mixture. That's exactly what you want to do. Let me move this aside because I was moving a bit too fast. Then we add the sugar and the lemon juice and the zest. Now you have to stir this, and it will take you a good 5 minutes to do this. In 5 minutes, stirring consistently, you will do a series of things. First of all, you will develop some incredible muscles, just like me. And then you will get a nice, glossy, yellowish mixture. You know what? It's always terrible. I remember when I was listening to people trying to teach me recipe, and they tell me what it's going to look like afterwards. I say, yeah, what am I supposed to look for when I do it at home? So this whole routine will last you for about 5 minutes. Once you're done, let me show you exactly what the mixture will look like. Concentrate on the color and on the glossiness of this because it's beautiful. Here we are. Isn't it beautiful? Look at it. Nice, yellow. And by the way, I let it cool off a little bit. You do not want to have it hot immediately right away. Let it cool off because the next addition that we're going to make is the addition of the egg yolks and the addition of the vanilla. At this point, this is my favorite tool, a nice spatula. Ah, look. Now, a lot of people get discouraged at this point. They see the eggs break and they go, oh my gosh, they're going all over the place. Just incorporate it. Chase them around, go, get over here. Stay here, don't move about. You can do the double 8, the single 8, the triple 8, the 16 figure. The important part is whatever technique you use, that you incorporate it really nicely. Now, pay attention to this. Our mixture has gotten a lot more yellow, but also is a lot looser. And if we just were to put this in there, we'd make a wonderful frittata. But this is not what we are about to make. The thing that we're about to make is a souffle. So let's think about it. What does it take for a souffle to rise up? It's the egg whites. At the beginning of the show, oh, by the way, while I'm talking, I'm going to add a little bit of the vanilla. At the beginning of the show, I told you that this is not a dessert that you can make ahead of time, that you must prepare at the moment. Up to this point, you can do ahead of time. So let's say you have a wonderful dinner, you want to make a souffle, the souffle that I'm showing you, you make all this step ahead of time. Don't even beat the egg whites yet. Don't. You serve people their last entree, you clear the pot. It says, I have to go in the back and I have to do a souffle. And tell them it's going to be a little while, so we'll have some coffee, we'll sit down, we'll be friendly, and then at the end of the coronation of this dinner, I'll have a souffle. And it will take you about 30 minutes after that to do it. All that you want to do is to have this ready, then to beat the egg whites to a nice consistency. And this is the consistency that you want to have. Look at this. Nice and creamy, almost meringue-like, until they form stiff peaks. At this point, once you've beaten the egg whites, you mix it with the mixture. And you do it a little bit at a time. And here's what I like to do. When you mix the egg whites, the one thing that you want to do is from underneath and up. And you want to incorporate with a lot of patience. You don't want to beat them in because the egg whites are what are going to give you the body to the souffle. They're going to give you the air. They're the building blocks that allows the souffle to have the wonderful texture that it has. Here we go with the others. Now, at this point, look, from the bottom on top, from the bottom on top. That. Top, all right. And you see the technique that I use, I've shown you many times. I move it, I move it. I give myself grip on the bowl, and I love using this thing. It really gives me total control of it. Now, you know that the mixture is being completely mixed well, but you don't see any more trace of the egg whites. Oh, here we have. Ooh, Then, this is it. We are ready. Let's put it inside the dish. Now let me pass on to you a couple of little tricks that I've seen done by real master chefs. Number one is to bang it down a little bit like this. Two is, if you use a much smaller bowl than this, what you may want to do, and this is people that really like to get a wonderful presentation. They like that the souffle that almost explodes out. Instead of using a 6-cup container, use a 4-cup container and build with some wonderful baking paper a nice ridge on the outside. This ridge on the outside, you will close it, make it a nice ridge, almost as if my hands were together. You can close it even with staples, and you put it in the oven. What happens, you build an imaginary wall, and as the souffle grows high and tall past it, when you take it out, you make sure also that you coat it with sugar and with butter so that the souffle doesn't stick to it. It opens up, and you have this big top. Also remember, the souffle doesn't stay up forever, and the souffle will cause you aggravation, which means that as you open the oven, it could flop down. You bring it to your guest, it flops down. Sometimes it doesn't puff up as big as it is. But you know one thing that you should not get hangover is the fact that the souffle, here it is. It's the fact that the souffle doesn't matter what it looks like. And no, it's what it tastes like. And this one is going to be spectacular. Guarda qua. Ooh la la, this is wonderful. Bellissimo, I tell you. Guardate. This is my souffle. This time, I was lucky. It came out perfect. But remember, when it comes to souffle, and when it comes to life, it doesn't matter what it looks like. It's the substance of a person that counts. In this case, the souffle's got the looks, and it's got the substance. After all, I cooked it. Remember this line next time you prepare it. Have fun in the kitchen. From my heart to your kitchen. Arrivederci.